Mute yourself in order to ask your question. Welcome to the Massachusetts Postgame press conference for the 2022 NCAA March Madness first round. We are joined by head coach Tori Verdi and student athletes Sam Brienne and Sydney Taylor. Minute Women head coach Tori Verdi will give a brief opening statement before the student athletes receive questions. Following our student athlete availability, we will open the coaching portion of the press conference.
Just really proud of these guys to my right in our team. We had an unbelievable year. We've accomplished so much. And, I think, tonight's game really doesn't, define, who we are and what our season was all about. We played a really good team, and we got to give Notre Dame a lot of credit, for what they did on both sides of the ball. But again, it doesn't define who we are as a program and as a team. And we have so many firsts this year. It was the first time in the history of the program where we won an A-10 tournament championship. The first time, we have the most wins in the history of the program. We have, the first time in the history of the program where we have 3 players make the all-conference teams in the A-10. We have the player of the year. So, regardless of this game tonight, there's so much for us to celebrate. And this team has been special. It's been an unbelievable journey. And just really proud of what they've accomplished.
Now we are ready for questions for our student athletes. Inside right.
Matt Votor, Mass Live. If I'm doing this right, this is for both of you. I'll start with Sydney. A lot of teams in this tournament would get down 17 points in the second quarter, especially teams that had never been here before, and that would be it. What was different for you guys? What did you guys do to kind of turn that around to stand in and play as well as you did for as much of the game as you did after that?
Well, we're definitely a team that never quits. So a 3-minute run is not going to define us. There's 40 minutes in a game, and we know they're going to make their runs. We'll make our runs. So just staying in it and knowing that the game wasn't even close to over and that we had so much more to play.
Yeah, kind of like what Sydney said. We're not a team that has any quit in us. We've been there before. We've had games this season where we've been down big and clawed back, and it's been a one-possession game, whether we pulled it off or not. But, like she said, they're going to go on runs, and we went on our runs. Unfortunately, we didn't close the gap all the way, obviously. But, they're a really good team, and just keeping our composure with all the experience that we have is how we stayed in it.
We'll go front right with the next question.
Jacob Munch, WMUA, UMass Radio. Sam, you tied a career high with 31 points in your first ever NCAA game. What was the key for you to have that much offensive success?
I don't know, just confidence, I guess. First time I've ever been here, we've all ever been here, and just knowing, it's a big stage, nothing to lose. That was really the mindset, just nothing to lose.
We'll continue on the far right.
You two have shared the court over the last. Nathan Strauss, UMass Radio. You two have shared the court, Sam, since you arrived over the last 3 years. I know it's early after this game, but having gotten a taste of the NCAA tournament, is there any sort of lesson that you can take away about what it takes to compete at this level and sort of maybe going into next year as you guys are both leaders?
I think that this isn't going to be our first time here. We'll definitely be back. I think our team, I don't know, most people are returning. Next year's going to be a really good year, obviously. But yeah, we'll definitely be back. We have a lot of talent on our team. Just working with that and developing our game even more.
Yeah, kind of like Sam said, we'll definitely be back. No surprise there. Just getting back in the gym, working harder, working on the things that we need to improve on, and just coming back stronger next year.
We'll continue on the right, on the inside in the second row.
Sam, can you walk us through what you saw at the end in the last play of the half as far as what you're thinking, your awareness of the clock, and then what that play did for you guys in terms of confidence and momentum?
Yeah, I knew Angelique got the rebound. There was probably 3-4 seconds left. Me and Sid were both leaking out. She had us both. She hit me, and I knew I had to get it off. Why not? Got it off in time, and I think that was a big momentum thing going into halftime. It brought it within 8 points. So I think that definitely helped. But yeah, just going through my mind, I knew I had to at least get it off.
Any additional in person? We'll go front right.
both of you. We can start with Sid. What did Notre Dame do in the first quarter that knocked you back on your heels so much?
I feel like they just shared the ball really well. Got us in rotation a lot. Hit the open man like in the skip passes. We were just a little late closing out, helping on the weak side, and just we knew what we had to do. We fixed in the second quarter, and we got it back to, like Sam said, got it back to 8 points, and that was a huge momentum shift.
Kind of like what Sydney said. I feel like it was more defensively than offensively. I mean, we were missing a lot of shots that we usually make, but it's not like we weren't scoring at all, so it was a big defensive thing. They were definitely finding the open man, hitting the open man. Like she said, we were just a second late, and they did a really, really good job finishing shots, finishing inside, finishing all that.
We'll continue in the second, on the right, in the second row.
Sam, are there things that you experience in this game that you can only experience in this game, in a NCAA tournament game, that you'll think about in the off season when you're in the weight room, when you're spending time, trying to work on your game? How do you use this game, specifically with the caliber of team that you played, to try to get you and this team and this program to get value out of losing this game?
I think the main thing is just we can compete with anyone, and that's going to be something we take into the off season. We'll come back next year, compete just with anyone. Obviously, they're a really talented team. We had it within 5 or 6 like late in the game, so just that mindset and knowing we're not afraid of anyone, and then just continue to develop, and we're only going to get better.
Any additional in person? We've got a Zoom question from Hannah Beavis.
Hannah Beavis, Daily Hampshire Gazette. This one's for both Sam and Sid. We can start with Sid. You guys knew going into the game that size was going to be something that you were going to have to deal with Notre Dame. Once you actually got on the floor and had to deal with their length, how do you think you guys were able to handle that?
Well, yeah, they're really big, but going into the game, our game plan was just kind of help on if they were ducking in the post, kind of the 2 corner players kind of helping a little bit. I mean, they finished around the basket. We kind of missed a couple box outs that we could have gave us a little bit more momentum. But they're a big team.
Yeah, I don't think like their length necessarily bothered us too much on the defensive end. I mean, they definitely altered some shots, but I think we were getting open looks. And then, kind of like Sid said, they were hitting tough shots and creating that really for themselves. I don't know, they're just a step quicker, really.
We'll go back to Hannah Beavis with the final question.
I know you guys have said that this isn't going to be the last time that you'll be at the NCAA tournament, but it is the first time that you guys are both here. So starting with Sid, what has this experience been like for you all, being on the biggest stage?
I mean, this is everything to me. I grew up watching this tournament with my family, and it's just a dream to be in it, win or lose. The scenario is just like, the stage is so big. There's so many people watching. So I'm just so grateful for the experience, and I just can't wait to be back here.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been, a dream since I feel like all of us were little. So obviously the outcome isn't what we wanted, but just being here and being on this stage was an amazing experience, and there's just no other group of people that I would have wanted to be here with. So that in itself was just amazing.
That concludes our student athlete availability. Thank you, Sam and Sydney. You're dismissed.
Thank you.
If you have a question for Coach, please raise your hand. We'll go to the far right.
When you look back upon this season, a season with no blowout losses and all of those firsts that you mentioned, is there a particular element of this team that you are most proud of?
I'm just thankful that I get the opportunity to coach them each and every single day. That in itself was a blessing. And so, everything else is just a bonus. And you got to think about the amount of time that we spend with our student athletes. We see them every day for hours and hours and hours, regardless if they're on the court, or off the court. And so it's just those times you get to really develop those relationships. You really get to know your players for who they are as people. And so to me, that's the most special thing. As far as, where we were to where we are now, I'm just really thankful and really appreciate. I mean, I'm just excited and happy for everything that they've accomplished this year.
We'll go continue on the right, second row.
What were you thinking on the buzzer beater? What's going through your mind as you're watching that develop at the end of the first half?
Well, Ange got the rebound. I'm like, Ange, get the ball out of your hands. I mean, like, get the outlet, and Sam was right there. And, and it's funny because as soon as Sam launched, I'm like, that's going in, so that was great. A little momentum going into, the halftime. But, in the first half, especially in the first period, we just did a lot of things that were uncharacteristic of who we were. And, they kind of hit us right off the bat, and, we were on our heels. And I just thought that, defensively, we were dysfunctional at times, but you got to give Notre Dame credit for attacking us. I thought Miles did a great job of splitting us on the on-ball screen action and attacking downhill. And, we didn't do a great job of, hedging the on-ball screen action. And, and so it got us in rotation and, gave them high percentage shots. And lastly, we didn't box out and rebound. And we knew that we needed to match their physicality here tonight. And it goes for all 5 players on the floor. Everyone needs to. I mean, it doesn't make sense when you have 4 people boxing out and then one person just standing and watching. And then we give up second chance opportunity points. And so, that was a big thing. And then also, we gave up points in transition, just passes from the backcourt to the front court for layups. And that's something that we have not done all year long. So, I just think that, it took us a while to really settle down, and so that's, what I'm hoping for. We have the bulk of this team coming back next year, and so I hope that this, it was, a great experience for them and they got a taste of what it's like, but we're ready to take that next step. And in order to move on, like, you got to do all those little things, and we talk about them all the time. You got to box out. It's every possession. It's every single possession. And I felt here tonight that, for whatever reason, we weren't locked into doing all those little things for 40 minutes.
We'll go front right.
What do you think Notre Dame did that shut down Destiny in particular? She seemed very frustrated. And then also, just this game aside, what can you say about her progression this year throughout her time at UMass?
Yeah, I mean, I think that their length bothered her, especially at the rim. She has the, she's explosive. She could turn the corner and try to get to the basket. I mean, that's what she's done all year, but really struggled because they stayed on her hip. So she's turned the corner, but yet she has a body on her hip, and then she has zero coming over, and their length bothered her. And so I know that she was, trying to force it just a little bit too much. And, at the end of the day, she's so competitive and she wants to win so bad. But I think that she was kind of forcing it just a little bit too much, where she didn't allow the game come to her. But as far as Destiny and the evolution of who she is as a player and as a person, I mean, I could write a book on it. And it's a feel-good story. And she's one of the main cornerstones to our program. There's no question about it. When we recruited her, we were trying to bring some athleticism into our program. We know that she was dynamic. We knew that she was fast, but she worked on her game each and every single season. She continued to improve as a player. But then, not only did she improve as a player, then we looked at her as, for leadership. And she didn't want that role in the beginning because she didn't know. She's like, well, I can't hold myself accountable. How am I going to hold other people accountable? But then she continued to grow, and there was a maturation process that took place, and then became a leader. And she did a great job of holding her teammates accountable because she knew what we needed to do in order to win a championship. But this game here today doesn't define who she is as a player. She's had an unbelievable career. She's over 1,000-point scorer for us, over 500 assists, and so I'm just extremely proud of Destiny, who she is both on and off the court.
We'll continue on the right, go back to the second row.
Did Sam's confidence kind of get contagious as the game went on? She was early in the game didn't look rattled compared to some people at the beginning, and then it seemed like as the game went on that as she continued to make shots and continued to make plays that other people kind of picked that up around her.
Yeah, nothing phases Sam Breen. I mean, nothing. And that's just who she is. She's so confident in herself. in her abilities, and she has a mental toughness about her. But you got to understand, like that's conditioned. Like she shows up to practice each and every single day, and she's our hardest worker. So like all this, I mean, there's no surprise here. There's no surprise in what she does out in the court for us, because she does it each and every single day.
Any additional in-person questions? We'll go to Zoom. We'll start with Hannah Beavis.
You talked about how nothing can phase Sam Breen. I also wondered if you could speak to the play of Bernaya. I don't have the box score in front of me right now, but I think by midway through the third quarter, she had the most rebounds despite being the smallest player out on the court just as a sophomore. What did you like about her game tonight?
Well, I mean, she's her competitive spirit. I mean, I've said this all along. I think she's the most undervalued player, point guard in the A10. I mean, she gets absolutely zero credit, and this is a player who's started every single game since her freshman year. And you look at what she does, she does a great job of creating for herself and creating for her teammates, and she plays every minute of the game. And there's never, I mean, her competitive spirit it's unbelievable, and her coachability, I mean, is off the charts. And so to me, I mean, I look at her and I'm like, Bernaya, I mean, like, do you need a sub? Are you tired? And she's like, no, I'm good. Like, and that's what I get each and every single day from her, and she gets zero credit. She gets zero credit. But that's who she is. She doesn't care who's out on the floor. She doesn't care that she's playing against Notre Dame. She doesn't care. She's going to go out there and be competitive. She's going to continue to drive and attack, and try to get to the rim. And I know that she fell short a little bit in the first half, but she made up for it in the second half.
Next question via Zoom, Lulu Kessing.
Lulu Kesson, Massachusetts Daily Collegian. After the Iowa State loss in November, you kind of talked about what that game would mean in terms of March and just putting UMass on the map, and kind of how it was an advantage playing that game in November. So flash forward to now, how are you going to continue to build this momentum into next season now that you're not only just a consistent force in the tournament, but also just making sure that these putting yourself on the map moments aren't few and far between?
Yeah, I think that this experience today, this game today, I mean, it's something that you grow from, and it's really hard to get here, first of all. Like, that's what people have to understand. It's really hard to win a championship as well. So our players understand what it takes, the effort, the work that you have to put in during the off season to get you prepared for just the longevity of the season in itself, and so it's just each and every single day, it's a grind and you have to work at it. But I think that just being here, playing on this stage and just the moment in itself, I mean, like, this is a dream for a lot of people. This was a dream for a lot of our players, and so just now being here, I think that if we have the opportunity, which we're going to work like heck to come back, next year so that we're back here again, I just think we're going to be, more experienced, and we're not going to allow a first, a period like we had today, the first period. We're not going to allow something like that to happen. We'll be more prepared for that moment. And, but I'm super excited about this team. I'm super excited about what we have returning, but at the end of the day, we need to continue to work harder, and we need to continue to be different than we were this year. And this year we were good. There's no question about that. We did some amazing things. But if you want to take that next step, you need to be different the following year.
Thank you, Coach. That concludes
Thank you.
Massachusetts availability.